Recruiting college athletes is an inexact science, but William & Mary has turned it into an arts form with its walk-on program. I'm Jonathan Yates, and here with us today on the Culture of Sports is Andrew Weidinger and Eric Hensley, two who were recruited as walk-ons but graduated from William & Mary as starters with multiple degrees. Mr. Weidinger, Mr. Henley, thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity.
I really appreciate it.
Now, generally on this show, I'd ask you to start about your high school career and what it was like going on to graduation. But I want you to talk about what you graduated with in terms of your degrees and honors. Since you're closest to me, Andrew, why don't you start off? What did you graduate with, both in terms of your degrees and your awards?
So going through William & Mary, I studied, I got my Bachelor's of Arts in Economics with a minor in Finance. And then post-graduation, after earning a full scholarship, from walk-on to full scholarship, I ended up in the Master's of Accounting program, which set me up for a career with one of the big four public accounting firms. CPA credentialing, and it set me up for a lot of paths to success in the future.
And how about you, Eric?
I graduated undergrad in 3 years with my Bachelor's of Arts in Economics with a minor in Math, and then I did the Master of Accounting with Andrew, and then stayed for my 5th year to do the Master's of Business Analytics.
So Eric, you have the record with 3 degrees, right?
From what I've heard, no one else has gotten that. So.
And so what are you doing now?
I'm working for IBM. So the Master of Accounting and the Business Analytics definitely translated to success with that.
And so when they were recruiting you out of high school, did they talk about the possibility of earning graduate degrees while you were on scholarship?
Absolutely, yeah, that was one of the big selling points, focusing both on the athletics and the academics and the opportunities with both of those.
Did you realize there was that opportunity to graduate with multiple degrees?
Yeah, that was definitely something that factored into my decision going to William & Mary, and something that I focused on throughout my time there as kind of my goal coming out of it.
And Andrew, what was it like for you in the recruiting process? Did you have any idea that you could leave with the graduate degrees too?
Absolutely. Going into the College of William & Mary, I was fully planning on doing the graduate program in the 5th year. Another thing the recruiters did a great job of was, as we were both recruited as walk-ons, was they made sure that through hard work, dedication to the team, and effort academically and on the field, we could earn scholarships and graduate with less debt by performing well in the classroom and performing well in the field.
Now, when you graduated, were employers impressed by your academic credentials too and the playing? Did they like the total picture?
Yes, so one of the big things our coaches emphasized throughout college was how much football specifically benefits you later on in life. So William & Mary set us up academically. It is a top-tier institution where we graduated with very strong degrees, learned from great professors, and had very collaborative classroom environments. And then we went onto the football field. We were talking about this just before. There's 5 things that our coach really emphasized throughout college of principles to live by and how it benefits you, both on the field but also post-football life when you're in the business world and seeking a job, and how you can effectively manage your work while performing your job and how football benefits you. So employers definitely.
What were those 5 principles?
So you want to go through them?
So you have play every play passionately, do your job, aim big, focus small.
Make the routine plays routinely.
Make the routine plays routinely, and let's go for number 5.
This is the hard one.
Yeah.
With 5 degrees, you should be.
We should be able to figure it out.
I think it was protect the ball.
Yeah. So those are all things that definitely translate from football to the real world, and kind of go back and echo something that Representative Steve King mentioned in your previous interview, with football being a microcosm to life. And it really does echo that, and kind of put into perspective and put into just a couple easy phrases to kind of symbolize that.
Have you found that out to be with your job now?
Absolutely, yeah. Each of them definitely contributes, and you can see the parallels between those and the real world. And I think that what really makes football special is that you're able to learn those things and learn those lessons in life where the stakes really aren't that high relative to other situations, and be able to make mistakes and learn from those, where if you do mess up, it's not the end of the world, but then also apply that to the real world, where the stakes are a lot higher.
Yeah.
Andrew, have you found that to be true
Absolutely.
in your current position?
Absolutely, yeah. I think football really teaches you to focus and perform under pressure. I know as players we put a lot of the pressure on ourselves because we want to perform at our best, we want to win championships, and I think focusing under pressure is really something that football taught us. Another thing is with, going to a top tier institution, you have very difficult classes, and managing that time management is huge in the fact that we manage the classes with our grueling football schedule of training, going to the locker room, watching film, and all of that. So I think understanding how to manage my time, but also understanding, how to work under pressure has really been beneficial in my
So
professional
what was your
experience.
welcome to the NFL moment in college football? When did you realize that it was so much different from high school in both academics and athletics?
I would say, so speaking athletics, I would say probably the first day of camp. I want to say going through the tired. So I actually came in, I graduated as a fullback, as the all-conference fullback, and I actually arrived on campus as a linebacker. And I was going through the drills behind an All-American linebacker, and he was light years ahead of me. And so that was my athletically welcome to college moment. Academically, I think the big thing about William & Mary is the caliber of people that you're surrounding yourself with. Everyone is a top performer. There's no one there that does not deserve to be there. So I think going to the first day of class, you really realize you're like, okay, this is a big difference in high school where you might not be surrounded with that caliber of person, whereas everyone in the classrooms was that caliber.
So Eric, it was unique for you. You were recruited as a 220-pound offensive lineman in college football where the running backs are much bigger than that. So when were the academic and athletic enlightenments for you in college?
So like you said, that was definitely an interesting transition to make. Coming in, I definitely realized that being 225 pounds as a lineman wasn't a sustainable path for me in college football. So it definitely took some, had to kind of think of taking a different approach. So was luckily able to kind of forge my way into playing tight end, where that's a little bit more of a sustainable path. In the academic side of things, I think the biggest change from high school was just that instead of having everything really laid out and micromanaged in terms of homework and assignments, it was you're given assignments. Your whole grade could be made up of just a couple tests, and that's your entire grade. So it's on you to perform. It's on you to do what it takes for you to pass those tests and for you to pass those classes. And you're not kind of having someone hold your hand through the entire process. And that's something that really is kind of a mirror of a lot of the stuff that I did learn from football, a lot of the skills from football, where it's on you to fulfill the expectations that you have and that people have of you. And if people are confident that you're able to fulfill that, you're going to get ahead in life.
Now, you were an all-star offensive lineman in high school. Did you think you were going to play that in college, or did you know you were going to have to shift over to tight end?
Well, to be honest, I wasn't. It was a little at the end of my senior year. It was a little rocky if I was going to be playing in college at all. So, but luckily things did work out with William & Mary, and at the time, for some reason, I did think I was going to play offensive line. But yeah, quickly learned that was really not in the cards, and even though that wasn't my initial plan going into it, I'm definitely thankful for where I ended up, and I definitely think it's a much better spot.
Let's hear about the academic and athletic support programs at William & Mary that helped you guys reach your full potential.
So I think starting off, they set you up for success freshman year. I know we are required to go to study halls no matter what your grades are, no matter what your academic background is from high school.
And how often do these study halls meet?
So it's dependent on sport at William & Mary, but for football I believe it was 3 nights a week. And they also do classes that welcome you to college. You know, there's a lot of things that you're experiencing for the first time in college. It's the first time for most people that they're living away from their parents. So they really acclimate you to the college environment with these study halls and with these classes that they offer. I would say the biggest thing was the flexibility that the coaches provided in, one, arranging tutors. If a tutor was needed, it was absolutely found. 2 was flexibility in scheduling. I know my senior year, I was in graduate classes where I couldn't be at practice 2 days a week and would still play on Saturdays. And it was on me
and
to.
The coaches were fine?
The coaches were completely fine with that. They understood that I was in the graduate program. The graduate program was important to me, and they knew, and it's a trust thing built up, right? Because flexibility is not a one-way street. So I understood that they're being flexible with my schedule, so I need to be flexible in the fact that I'm in there studying film late at night. I'm in the weight room after hours when other people aren't there or aren't required to be there, so that I wouldn't be falling behind on the field, but also so I could excel academically. So I think the coaching staff did a phenomenal job of being flexible and really allowing us to achieve our academic goals.
Now, academically, William & Mary is one of the best schools in the country. What was it like going to graduate school too? Was that much of a difference in quality and sort of time demands from being an undergrad?
I would say it was very comparable in difficulty. I think it really set us up for a lot of success. The graduate program teachers are phenomenal. The Mason School of Business is obviously the only business school I've gone to yet, but I really do believe that the professors are top tier. The student to teacher ratio is phenomenal. The facilities are top notch. I can't imagine anything better, and they really set you up for success.
Eric, did you have the same experience in all three of your degrees?
Yeah, absolutely. The quality of the graduate programs at William & Mary definitely matched the quality of the undergrad education. One of the things that you said with not really seeing a difference much of a difference between the course load and the expectations, I think a lot of that does come from kind of what we are used to from playing football, especially at William & Mary, to where what a lot of other people may have found grueling or a lot of tough time commitments, we really kind of took for granted. We went through, for the Master of Accounting program, we had to do, since we weren't accounting we didn't graduate undergrad with accounting degrees, we had to do a boot camp over the summer, and it was probably 5 hours, 5 to 6 hours.
So I'll give you a day in the life of that boot camp.
This is a boot camp for accounting.
For accounting. So we would take one full semester course and take it in 10 days. And we would wake up at 5 a.m. for running. We'd go lift at 6 a.m. We'd go and run again.
With lunch break, we'd go run routes, do our stuff with the team.
Yeah, we had class from 9 to 6. And we had 2 exams in that 10-day period. We had tests almost every day. Yeah. And I think by us going through that, we're like, okay, well, if we can get through this, we can get through anything. So I think that one translates in making grad school more very comparable to undergrad, because we're so used to being flexible in our schedules. But also, I think it really translated to both of us have pretty demanding jobs. You at IBM, me at PricewaterhouseCoopers, where my schedule might be 60, 80 hours a week. We can get through it, whereas other people have never experienced a grueling schedule like that. And also taxing, right? Because it's mentally and physically, you're just exhausted. Yeah. And I think that going through that has put us light years ahead.
Yeah, and even at the time of doing it, we definitely noticed that a lot of other classmates were definitely struggling with kind of handling that and managing their time. Well, we really didn't. I mean, it was obviously not the greatest couple months.
And not your favorite summer.
Yeah, but definitely we didn't see it really as anything that.
And do you think your football practice helped you with that? Your time management skills you learned from playing ball?
Absolutely, yeah. It all goes together, and it's just another example of how playing football, especially at the collegiate level, does translate to real-world success and sets you up for handling things in the real world.
Now, when you were being recruited for jobs after school, what was their reaction to your having played football?
Yeah, they definitely saw that as kind of symbolism and a demonstration of those skills of leadership, confidence, of time management and commitment. And even times it wasn't explicitly stated on a resume or in a conversation, just saying that you did play football, or some anecdotes like that summer or my next summer getting ready for the Masters of Business Analytics, that was enough to display and to demonstrate that we had those skills and that we can apply those to the real world.
What was their reaction to some of the awards and honors you had won while playing football at William & Mary?
I mean, again, those were, a lot of those, again, kind of go back to the hard work, to work ethic, and just another demonstration of how those things set you up for success.
What were some of the ones you won?
So Andrew and I were both recipients of the Hay Farrell Scholarship. Hay Farrell stands for 100 each year for rising lettermen. Former players donate $100 every year, and that fund goes towards providing scholarships for walk-on players. And so Andrew and I were both recipients of that. and we were also
Winter Warrior was
and
another one you
also
won, yeah.
we were both also recipients of the Winter Warrior Award.
No, what is that?
It is given at the spring game at the same time as they announce the captains, and it's given for players that demonstrate hard work ethic, and that approach. And again, is just provides a great parallel to success in the real world and to how you can manage yourself, and kind of driven by internally as opposed to needing external drive.
So Andrew, you were the William V. Campbell nominee from William & Mary, which is also known as the Academic Heisman. How were employers reacted to that?
I think that was a big selling point in the fact that it showed that I could balance the workload of a top tier institution, but also and serve in the community, where it showed that I cared about the community and the world around me, as well as excel on the field. I was honored to be given that distinction from William & Mary, and then to make it to the semifinalist level was an honor. I had received the high school equivalent of the Campbell Award. I was one of 5 students in the country who received that coming out of high school, and it was an honor to receive the nomination and to go through the process with the National Football Foundation in college.
And was that appreciated in the recruiting process?
It was.
After college?
Absolutely. So employers definitely understood that just by receiving that award and receiving the nomination, it showed, one, that I had made an impact on my coaches and on the athletic department, that I was worthy to be nominated of this award, but also employers saw that just by receiving that award, it encompassed the academics, the athletics, and we've talked a lot today about how athletically grueling it is to play in college sports, but also it showed the community service aspect, that showed that I cared, that I had a heart, and that I was passionate about things.
Did you find that William & Mary encouraged you to be more active in community service?
Absolutely. So each year, specifically the tribe football program, we held car washes for a different organization that was based in Williamsburg. We also take part each year. There's the William & Mary Giving Day. So everyone is encouraged via social media campaign to donate to the school. And you also can donate to specific communities or specific organizations around Williamsburg. Additionally, we worked with Habitat for Humanity. I know we went to some elderly homes. In Williamsburg, there's a need for helping around with yard work and whatnot, so we would go there. We also had student athletes going to schools and reading to the students. They always got a big kick out of us coming in jerseys, and really got to show them, like, if you work really hard, that you can do this. We were in your position at one point, and I think everyone in the program, coaches, players, and the athletic department staff really encouraged us to take part in it.
Eric, what did you find most rewarding in the community service programs or playing for the tribe?
Yeah, I think it's just being able to make an impact on the community and realizing that people look up to you, and when you're 18, 19, 20 years old, that's an interesting spot to be in and really valuable to see that you can actually impact someone's life just by doing something that for you is really insignificant, just by showing up somewhere, reading a book, helping with a car wash, but to other people that really makes an impact on their life and it really puts things in perspective.
So when you go to William & Mary, it's one of the best schools in the country, but it's not one would say dominated by a football culture like some of the SEC or Big Ten schools. Any time in the 5 years you were there, did you ever say, wow, look at that game down in Tuscaloosa, look at that game down at Athens, I could be out there playing with those guys?
Well, absolutely. So any competitor will obviously dream of an environment like that, but I think the stadium at William & Mary, brand new, gorgeous, gave you that big school environment, but I don't think there could be any school that could top the aspect of the academics and athletics and how much of a family the football program was. I mean, you have coaches looking out for players, you have players looking out for other players. It was truly a brotherhood to play there, and even though I was envious of those roaring crowds, I can't imagine playing at any other school.
What about you, Eric? What was your experience when you looked around as a starter and said, I could be out there in Boston or Columbus or something like that, but here, did you ever sort of feel like you'd made a mistake, or was it like Andrew, you realized I can't imagine playing anywhere else?
No, absolutely. I definitely don't feel like I made a mistake at all. And I'm kind of building on what Andrew said. Even some of those games that, some of the bigger games, we actually realized that we're actually watching those in film for games that we're preparing for. We played teams like West Virginia, NC State, Virginia Tech. I mean, playing at Lane Stadium, coming out to enter Sandman. I mean, that's probably the best you can ask for a college football fan, especially growing up in Virginia.
So when you played those schools, what were your thoughts after the first play with the players? Did you sort of think like, damn, I could be on the other side without any problem?
I think that's the biggest thing is what there obviously is some aspect to recruiting that makes it easier for a bigger school, but we're out there, we're going to compete as hard as we can, and I think that after the first play, I know each game, there was only one game against a big 1A opponent where it wasn't a close game that we played, and
every games.
Yeah, every single one we played was, it was a fight, and I think the team understood that. You obviously have jitters. Everyone has jitters. You wouldn't be a competitor if you didn't have jitters. But I think we went out there and I think we realized we're here to play, and I think they understood that too.
Eric, when do you think the other team realized they were in a dogfight with William and Mary?
For us, we were hoping that they wouldn't realize until a little bit later in the game. Definitely was an advantage I think we had coming in underestimated, and that definitely we used that to our advantage, trying to come out fast, come out ahead early to kind of set the tone. When we played some of the bigger schools, they generally would kind of take us lightly at the beginning, and generally didn't work out too well for them.
When did the light bulb go off for them that this was not going to be a cakewalk with William and Mary?
It changes depending on the game, but usually, going into halftime for all of them, it was always a one-possession game, and the crowd was into it. It was on TV, and you realized that this wasn't just a cakewalk. This was a real game, and it made for really exciting games and really unique experiences.
Now, in terms of the unique experiences, when you went after your second graduate degree, what was the response of the coaches and the support staff in the athletic department?
They were very, very helpful. Absolutely, not only understanding, but also really encouraging to go forward and to pursue that. There was, at one point, it was kind of a decision between either going for the Masters of Business Analytics and earning the degree.
What is a Masters in Business Analytics?
So it was a new program at William & Mary. I think now it's onto its third year, focusing on using computer skills to apply for business solutions.
So it's like big data, predictive analytics?
Yeah. We learned Python, or a lot of different coding languages that are really in demand now for business applications and lead to a lot of great career opportunities.
Now, is getting the graduate degrees, is that purely the domain of the football players, or do you see varsity athletes from every sport at William & Mary in graduate school?
There is a lot of athletes from different teams as well. So for the last couple of years, I think we've had at least one or two football players in there, but baseball players as well, and other sports.
How about in the accounting program, Andrew? Did you see other athletes from other teams?
Absolutely, yeah. I think the business school gets a great representation from the athletic department. I think that is because the athletic department is recruiting these high caliber individuals, and they can handle the business school obviously as a grueling curriculum, and I think it really translates being able to deal with that athletically and with your varsity sports teams. It really translates well to the classroom. So you definitely saw across the board, from soccer to basketball to football to baseball. It was every men's, women's, all those teams were very well represented.
In terms of the high quality individuals that William & Mary athletes are, did any other schools recruiting you point out that, hey, if you come here, you got 5 years, you can graduate with 2, maybe 3 degrees? Or was that only William & Mary's?
So going through the recruiting process, I went through, the Ivy League schools. I went through some smaller Division III schools where I knew I'd be able to go in and play right away, talk to UVA, and I was not aware at the time, or it had not been emphasized in the recruiting process that was a possibility. Obviously at other schools it most likely was, but it was not advertised as such going through the recruiting process. So by William & Mary doing that, they really stood out in the recruiting process to show we care about your future. So it was basically a competitive advantage for William & Mary in recruiting you. Absolutely.
And how much of a factor was it in your decision to go to William & Mary when you could have pretty much gone anywhere with your grades and sports?
So I would say it was a major factor. I think the other thing that really drew me was I don't think any school emphasized as much how much a walk-on can achieve. So they actually showed us the Hayfarrell list during recruiting, and they showed all these people. It was a list of 150 guys.
Experience.
Absolutely, where it was something tangible. You could feel I can earn this. So I think that really set William & Mary apart. And then it's a top tier school. It's fairly close to home. It's perfect. It's a nice town. So I think William & Mary was the perfect fit, and they did a great job in emphasizing the important things in recruiting.
And Eric, how about you when they were recruiting you? Were they the only school to point out to you that you could earn 3 degrees within your 5 years here, and look at the list of 150 other people who've earned the graduate degrees?
Yeah, I didn't have any other experiences with schools emphasizing graduate degrees at all. That was something that was definitely unique to William & Mary. In my decision as a senior in high school, it definitely boiled down to being confident that the athletic department and the football team really embraced the full student athlete. That there was both opportunities on the athletic side as well as the academic side, where they would provide both opportunities and support to excel in both aspects.
Now, were there any players ahead of you at William & Mary who you could look towards as role models who were enrolled in graduate school?
Enrolled in graduate school at the time, not any that come to mind, but if an older player would definitely be Andrew here. We went through.
So Eric, were you his mentor? You took him under your wing?
I would say that, but we were really brothers. I mean, truly, went to William & Mary with that. I have 3 brothers, graduated with 4. So I think I absolutely, I can't think of anything specific, but there are plenty. Every single player on the team does a great job of being a role model to the younger players. We don't have a specific buddy system, but I think among the position groups specifically, you have the older players looking out for the younger players, whether it's, helping them in deciding which professors they should take or which classes they should take.
Or not take.
Correct. Or just, offer. I know I help tutor people in econ and accounting throughout. So I think older players do a great job of, providing those resources, because sometimes a player will speak a player's language versus going to a tutor where it might be difficult for them. And we have similar schedules, so I think the older players did a great job of that.
So Eric, did you find that older players like Andrew were very helpful for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Not only helpful, but also then when I was in their shoes as an older player myself, to kind of pass that along, to make sure that I helped out other players, especially like Andy said, with tutoring and providing assistance where I felt I was more comfortable with certain subjects than other people might have been struggling with.
Now, were they as receptive as you were to Andrew's guidance?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it goes both ways with players older players respecting the younger players and trying to help out, but also the younger players respecting the older ones and looking for guidance and knowing and trusting that they have their best interest in mind.
Now, I was at a night commission event on intercollegiate athletics, and the NCAA president, Mark Emmert, pointed out that they did a survey that showed that 76% of D1 basketball players thought they were going to play in the NBA, 50% of D2 basketball players thought they were going to play in the NBA, and my favorite, 24% of D3 basketball players thought they were going to play in the NBA, even though there's no player in the NBA from the D3 at this time. Did you guys see sort of the same thing at William & Mary? Did players come in sort of thinking, I've got that NFL dream, I've got that NBA dream, I've got that Major League Baseball dream, and if they did, would they keep it to themselves because William & Mary is so great academically, or could you see it, would they talk about it, and then when would that light bulb go off and you'd say, hey, I'm at a great school and I can walk away with some graduate degrees into a fantastic job, so I'm going to focus on this. So when was that moment? Did you ever have that? I
would say ultimately, as competitors, college athletes, we came in and we all have that dream, right? We all have the dream of going playing on Sundays. Everyone has it. But I think the rational thought was, we're going to William & Mary because this is a realist. It's what the plan is going to be. You can refer to it as a backup plan because obviously NFL is a dream.
That being a rock star. Right?
Yeah, exactly. But I would say we're setting ourselves up for success by going to William & Mary. So coming in, obviously we all want to play football in the NFL, but ultimately I think every player who comes to William & Mary has made that decision as, what, I know the NFL might not work out for me, and maybe they advertise it, maybe they don't, but they've made that decision that if it doesn't work out, I'm at a phenomenal school and I'm going to graduate with a degree that'll take me to great places.
So Eric, as a 220-pound offensive lineman coming out of high school, did you have those NFL dreams too?
Not NFL, not so much. No, might sound a little corny, but my NFL dream really was just to graduate with a great degree and to be set up in that regard.
So you graduated with 3 great degrees.
Yeah, well, yeah, it definitely helped set me up, and I'm looking forward to a great future where those things can really propel me towards some great things in life.
Now, in a recent episode of my show, I had 5 athletic directors from historically black colleges and universities. And I asked him, I said, Chris Del Conte is the athletic director at the University of Texas. In a press conference in November when he took his job, he said, I'm a crier. I cry when we win, I cry when we lose. You know, I cry when I'm happy, I cry when I'm sad. Did you see a lot of criers among your coaches and the administrators at William & Mary?
I would
say, is there a lot of emotion?
After some big wins, I'll be honest, I'm a crier.
There's more in the locker room.
Yeah, in the locker room, I say would be where you see it the most, but I've cried after there's actually a great picture out there of me crying. It's in high school after a win that was it was the most emotionally stressful game of all time. And I couldn't, it was just so much emotion that I had to let it out. But yeah, I'd say it's a mix. I don't think I've ever seen coaches cry. Actually, take that back, I have seen
after beating Richmond my senior year, so it was we lost to them 5 times in the last 4 years, our rival, and we were playing them.
All 5 times that I played.
We were playing them our senior night, our last game ever. We knew that we weren't going to make the playoffs. That was our last game, and there was probably about 30 seconds left in the 4th quarter, and we realized that we'd won the game. And everyone was crying, coaches, staff, equipment people, everyone. It was
that would be a great recruiting video. So
yeah, I mean, there's definitely plenty of
sensitive and supportive yes. of William & Mary football.
Yeah, that was definitely a lot of emotion like
that. So I asked these athletic directors from historically black colleges and universities in Maryland, I said, you can tell, you know, certain people go and play for certain schools, like who they root for and stuff like that. How would I tell that, you know, somebody goes to Bowie State? How would I tell somebody goes to Morgan State? How would I tell who's a student athlete from William & Mary? What do you guys think is sort of the signs, the indicators, the tells that you're a student athlete at William & Mary?
I would probably say the biggest thing is if you had a crowd of people and had no idea which one was the student athlete, look for the kid who's leading the group. Because I think William & Mary breeds leaders. I mean, from the 3 presidents who graduated from the College of William & Mary, quite some time ago. But I would say William & Mary really does graduate leaders. The environment that you're put in where, you know, there's a lot of group assignments in class where a student athlete who's better at time management will, you know, step up to the plate and lead that group and make sure that project's done effectively and correctly. Additionally, I think other things are, you know, the work ethic. So William & Mary recruits a lot of walk-ons, and walk-ons earn scholarships, and they earn scholarships through having phenomenal work ethic.
Is there any one thing that sticks in your mind that William & Mary did that helped develop those leadership skills and work ethic for you? I mean, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to run, that's, you know, not a lot of people do that.
I would say this, for applicable to all college athletes, but specifically at William & Mary, would be there's a lot of personal leadership that you have to take, and you take charge of your career and your life in the fact that you have to manage this grueling academic schedule as well as this grueling athletic schedule. And I think by providing you those opportunities, I think you develop the personal leadership, and that immediately translates to leading a group.
How about you, Eric? What do you think tells somebody that they're a student athlete from the tribe? One tribe, one family. What sets that person apart?
Yeah, I mean, building off of what Angie said, I think it's not only kind of the the vocal leadership, but also the people that lead by example, and that's something that is really fostered by both William & Mary and specifically with the athletics department. That's something that you have to, kind of like what Angie said, you need to look to yourself, and people are going to be trusting you to work for yourself and to manage your time, to be working as hard as you can. Was the character is who you are when nobody's looking.
Yeah.
That's something that definitely is emphasized throughout the football program and my time at William & Mary. And I think it really was kind of epitomized with the Winter Warrior Award that Andrew and I both received. That kind of the leadership by example is something that is definitely emblematic of student athletes at William & Mary.
Your first year there, did you ever see yourself winning the Winter Warrior Award?
Definitely not. No, I mean, I came in with a torn labrum and being able to bench maybe 200 pounds. So that was definitely not something that I had.
Somebody saw a lot of potential in you. I
know.
We need to bench 200 pounds.
I don't know how it happened, but I'm very grateful that it ended up the way it did.
How about you? Did you ever see yourself winning that Winter Warrior Award?
No, I really, I knew if I worked hard enough, I could win it. I'm grateful for the opportunities that the strength and conditioning staff provided us in, top-notch facilities. They allowed us to achieve that potential athletically, and I really think, similar to us coming in as walk-ons and just our general personalities of, always trying to be the best that we can be, and I think being recognized for that was great. They could have recognized 25 people. There's at least 25 people each year who deserve that award. So it was an honor to receive it.
Andrew, when did you realize that William & Mary was serious, that they really did have your best interests at heart? Everybody, when they're recruiting you, tells you, we want what's best for you. When did you realize that, it truly was one tribe, one family?
I would say, from a football perspective, I would say it was during camp when I was playing linebacker, but when the offensive coaches came up to me like, you're a fullback, and you're going to play fullback. And I started as a redshirt, so it was redshirt year, didn't play, and then my first start was my redshirt freshman year at Maryland as a fullback. So,
and Eric, when did you realize that it truly was one tribe, one family? They had your best interests at heart.
So I think there's the difference between fellow players and then coaches. So with fellow players, I switched over to tight end and kind of joined the position group like Andrew did from offensive line, where I didn't really know any of the terminology, no idea play offensive line. I had no idea how to run a route. I still kind of graduated without knowing how to run a route, but definitely the older players took me under their wing. Bo Revel is now a coach at William & Mary, but he played tight end as well, and I can't even imagine the number of hours that we spent out on the field working on things that I'm sure were minutia for him, but he just took the time out of his schedule to look out for me and to help me develop, and I'm really grateful for that. On the coaching side, the coaching staff was definitely really helpful in terms of the obligations that I had with class and with the internships that I did have. They were both, like Andrew said, really flexible in terms of understanding that those obligations are obviously at some points going to come at the expense of football, but it's also comes with the trust that they're confident that I would come through and do what I had to do to kind of make up for that.
So the academic support was just as strong as the athletic support?
Absolutely, yeah. I would say that the meshing there is really what sets William & Mary apart, both in my coming in as a freshman and why I chose William & Mary, and then now looking back, why I'm so grateful for it.
So, you've been out now, and so I know you have time to look back. What do you miss the most? I know you don't miss the coaches yelling at you. I know you don't miss button heads and the humidity in mid-August. What do you
Have you seen the top of that helmet? I might miss button heads.
What do you miss the most about playing sports for William & Mary?
I miss the team. I just miss the guys. I think that was the hardest thing. Graduating, oh man, I'm a crier. This is dangerous.
It's a very emotional moment.
So I would say the team would be I can't think of anything that is a happier memory than just some of the times that we spent with the guys. Football's playing.
So would it be those all-you-can-eat sushi nights you were telling me about? You guys bankrupted that restaurant?
That apparently they've upped their prices now. I would say that's an experience, but I think when we were just exhausted, we're going through camp, it's grueling, it's hot in Williamsburg, it's a swamp, so it's pretty tough weather to be playing in, just, you're hanging out after watching film, and it's just being around the guys, I think really would be number one thing I miss about playing.
Eric, what do you miss the most about playing football for William & Mary, going to college?
Yeah, kind of like what Andrew just emphasized at the end with that feeling of of being exhausted, but knowing that you accomplished something that is really what was most powerful to me and what really drew me to football. It's that ability to really put your work into something, and at a really young age, where otherwise you really wouldn't have been able to be able to see that hard work does lead to results, and be able to see the outcomes and the success that can come from that hard work.
And so, one tribe, one family is more than just a motto.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely it might sound at times like kind of a corny or overused phrase, but it definitely does really capture everything about tribe athletics, and really give a much deeper kind of summary of what life is like at William & Mary for a student athlete.
And Eric, Andrew, that was your same experience
Absolutely.
too that Eric talked about?
Absolutely, yeah. I would say that phrase, it carries more weight than just 4 words. I really think that that phrase sums up what it's like to be a college athlete at the College of William and Mary.
Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you very much. It certainly shows the success of William and Mary as both a college and a football team. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Jonathan
Thank
Yates,
you.
Culture of Sports. Thank you for joining us.